Hello everyone, welcome back to another Google card reading. In this one, we're going to take a look into, as what the title said, what part of you that people find alluring. So let's jump right into it. We have 4 piles in front of you. Pile 1, the 6 of Wands, 6 of Swords, and the third one, 6 of Pentacles. The fourth one is the 6 of Cups. Choose your pile and I'll meet you there. Let's jump right into your each piles. Alright, we're gonna have to start with you, pile number 1. We have the 6 of Wands, and the clarification card for it is the Page of Wands over here. So, okay, the part of you that people find very alluring is the fact that you're very fearless. There is something about you that somewhat feels you're very brave, you know, and I do feel like it's the kind of bravery that you are always down to any kind of adventure. You're always down to any type of, and any sort of, like experimentation, because the Page of Wands is kind of like the beginner's mind energy, where you don't exactly do something just because, you know, they're the type of people who want to do something just because they know it's gonna hit, right? Like the opportunistic way, which is totally fine. But I feel like something about you that like you will make it a great opportunity for you. So it feels like the way you choose something or the way you do something, not because you're sure that this is a great thing for you, but you are sure enough with yourself that you're gonna make it great, which I think, you know, it's a very rare quality, kind of hard to find, you know, that type of quality in anyone, really. And there's something about you also that feels very fearless, as I mentioned before, that you are, you know, shouting very, I would say, like, you know, very loud about your identity, about who you are. Like, you're not afraid to kind of, you know, it has a lot to do with belief as well. There's something about you that makes people feel confident about their belief. Now, regardless whether that's actually how you feel or not, right? You know, deep down, who knows about it? But there's something about you that people find kind of like very motivating, you know, and a lot of people would kind of find it very, like, respectful, you know? People has a lot of respect towards whatever you're putting and the way you hype others and the way you celebrate others. There's something about you that feels very like liberating, you know, and again, you know, talking to you, it's like a breath of fresh air. I feel like you're very open-minded. You're mostly kind of like, you know, would always kind of take things into consideration first before you jump right into something or judging it. You know, you're not gonna do that. You're not the type of person who would judge someone like right away. You're like the type of person who's like, there is always story, you know, on how people get there. So sometimes like it's very alluring to see someone see the best of you. Like, I feel like people can see the best of themselves when they're with you. There's something about you that kind of bring the best out of people. That's what I see here. Let's jump right into the next few cards we have. Alright, we got plenty in here. Let's focus first with the Sacred Lotus. It said enlightenment, nomad, no lotus, and on the Peony card it said prosperity and compassion. Yeah, as I mentioned before, like you've always able to obtain somewhat a perspective that a lot of people haven't really thought even like on years in their life. So for example, it's like an old guy or like an old girl, you know, like talking to you, and they're always somewhat find a way, like you always find a way to kind of bring up something that it's never even has ever crossed their mind. And it's like with someone with your mind and the kind of I don't know, something about you, it's like it's just exactly the portion that people needs to hear at a time. And I'm not saying that you're telling people exactly what they need to hear, right? But it's just like you always find a way to say something or do something exactly how they need it to be. So there's something about you that kind of like fantasy-like, but at the very same time, like it challenged people to be braver in their life. It challenged people to be the best version of themselves. It challenged people to kind of see the best out of it. You know, you make people not feel miserable anymore about themselves. I mean, every single one of us has that part of us that we kind of feel like it is kind of miserable, but talking to you and being around you, there's something about you that brings the best out of it, even if it is miserable. But people start to look that miserableness, you know, in a very completely different perspective, in a very different way. And I feel like it's, again, you know, the type of quality that I feel like hands off people are just saluting you. And I think that's a part of you that people find very alluring. On top of it, we have 4 tarot cards here. We have the World card, the Star card, the Two of Pentacles and the Three of Swords. So I would say this is a little bit of a background, like a backstory. With the Three of Swords and the Star card, I would say that you've held the burden many times, too many times in your life, to feel singled out or bullied even, or like, for just simply being yourself. But you've known exactly the feeling of being an outsider and feeling like you're helpless of doing something that not all people do. You kind of like stand out quite differently in many, many stages in your life. And I think that's why you can say all of these things, and you're the type of person who's like had it not easy, but for some reason able to conquer it, for some reason able to stand on the other side, the dreamers who made it, like I feel like you're the type of person who's been on both sides. And I think it shows with the Two of Pentacles. You have perspective and you have this way of calming down people, because you have tried that before. You've tried it to feel singled out, to feel miserable about it, but there is just no point on feeling that way. With the World card, it shows that you always have this endless compassion and the ability to understand people, the ability to like perceive the best out of stuff, because you've been in the most miserable experiences in your life. I feel like you've gone through a lot of deaths, you've gone through a lot of headaches, you've gone through a lot of identity change, and you have to go through hell, literally, to find your identity, to find like who you are as a person. And that's why I think you're always able to celebrate others. That's why you're always able to cheer for others. That's why you're always able to, to be happy for others, because you've been there, and like if it is not us who celebrate each other, who feel happy about each other, then who else? Right? So I would say, I feel like that's a part of you that people find like very alluring and very refreshing to see. So, yep, thanks to you, people feel great. That would be all, pile number 1. I'll catch you in the next prediction. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope that resonates. Bye for now. Alright, hello there, pile number 2. Welcome to your prediction. You chose the Six of Swords, and clarification for it, we have the Seven of Cups. This is very interesting. The part of you that people find alluring is the fact that you're always able to step above your fear, which is very interesting. It's like even through the fog, even through the confusion, you're always able to find your way out of the situation. You're like the type of person who people would definitely put up front when they're like a haunted house. You're the type of person who's like a tour guide, of so many type of journey, of so many type of experiences and events. You're the type of person who's like, it's like one opportunity, you're able to make sevens out of that opportunity. You're like, you could be very creative, you could be very, like, have a very, like, a high, fantasy, or like high, like intellect could be as well, but there's something about you that kind of like crack more than what people, you kind of like the type of person who knows how to decode the best, out of yourselves. So it's like, something about you that people wouldn't worry. This is very interesting because a lot of insight just coming in. So I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time to really arrange my thoughts right now. Yeah, there's something about you that people kind of like will not feel worry to let you make mistakes, which I know in the first place that would make you feel somewhat that those people don't care about my safety. But no, I feel like there's something about you that feels very convincing to people, because like you're like the type of person who don't look like what they've gone through. So you could like literally gone through shit and people just kind of like, what even the fuck I'm hearing right now, So something about you just like, you've gone through hell, but for some reason you don't look like it. And for some reason you always look fresh. And the fact that you've gone through it and always make it to this stage, it means you always find a way to get out of the worst situation. I think that's very alluring because there is something comedic about it as well, which I know is not very like a comedic like type or based here, I know, but like you're the type of person also that your parents or like the elders doesn't even feel worried to like search for you. Like you can take care of yourself, which I can feel like a slightly bit of like disappointment and sadness here, where I think at some period of time, I mean, you're also too confused, you're confused and you don't even have no idea. Yeah, you don't have any idea how to move forward in life, but I feel like there is always that trust. There is always that illusion that you give people that you can handle everything. And the fact that you can always do it, whether you like it or not. If you take a step back, I'm so sorry, Paul number 2. But if you take a step back, you kind of sort of able to handle it. aren't you? Right? You're always able to do it. So it's very alluring to so many people. Let's move on here. I'm sorry. I feel bad describing those things. You know, I wish I could have said something like, I don't know, a lot deeper and a lot more understanding, but that's what we got. Let's take a look into more cards. Okay, the next few cards we have here is plenty. We're gonna focus on the hyacinth first. In here we have playfulness, yes. And also we have gallantry. Grant me a single smile, right? There's something about you that's just like, you bring comedic out of everything. You bring jokes into everything, as if you don't exactly take everything too seriously, which I don't think you don't take your life seriously. But it's just like you've always had this shield that it's like you can handle it, you know? So I feel like even yourself sometimes wonder how far you can take things. Like, where is your limit? You know? It's like you can always find joy and laughter and happiness and you can always find delight, you know, within the worst type of circumstances, within the worst type of situation. Here we also have the Hierophant, we have the Three of Wands, we have the Seven of Wands, and we have the Five of Swords. Yes, it's like, I see the backstory in here is that you've been there. I feel like you've been in a place in your life where you are the last one to exit the stage. You are the last one to quit the stage. You are the last one to give up. And I think through that experiences, you've disappointed a lot in life. You know, you feel let down a lot by the reality that no one will rescue you. You had to rescue yourself. And I feel like, you know, been through that, and in this stage, the fact that you're in the stage right now, I think just kind of proves that there is nothing that you literally cannot pass. You know, with the Hierophant card, it gives the kind of like the Pope and the teacher type of vibe. And as I mentioned, you know, there's something about you that I think people would definitely crown you as the person that that people wanted to lead them in the worst circumstances possible. And I think you've been through a lot of that resistance, inner pull, outer pull, the push and pull, the internal conflict. You've been through all of that. So something that is alluring about you is that the fact that you can let the detonation, or you can let the every type of chaos just detonate inside you, and you never bleed on other people, you know? And I think something about you that's like, with the Three of Wands, it's like you always have a plan. You always like, you know, steps forward. So it's like never ending story with you. I feel like it's a never ending experiences, never ending journey with you. It's a never ending, foreseeing with you. It's a never ending experiences with you. And I think that makes a lot of people just want to be around you. And it's very alluring to see, you know, finally, God-given, you know, someone that is like that. And yeah, that would be all for you, pile number 2. I hope that resonates in a way. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next prediction. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next time. Bye for now.
Hello there, pile 3. You chose the one. It is the Six of Pentacles, and in here, the part of you that people find alluring is the fact that you might be someone who like always have like a new interest in front of you. As we see here, this is a Six of Pentacles clarified by the Ace of Wands. So it looks like you're always the type of person that, you know, they're the type of people who's like up and down, you know, when it comes to their interest, when it comes to their passion. They chase it, then they leave it. And it's like passive aggressive, microaggression. But it looks like when it comes to you, there is a certain consistency. And I think people kind of like feel like there's a lot of teaching, learning, feeling here. I feel like a lot of people feel inspired to take the same type of action, or to have the stability that you have, which I think you're kind of like a very stable person to like some degree. Looking at this card here with the Ace of Wands, like you've always find a way to balance out your professional and personal life, and I feel like a lot of aspects in your life kind of like an exact balance, and you kind of like, yeah, it looks like at the very least from the outside here, you kind of make it easy to kind of control everything all together and not forcing something, not forcing an outcome. And it looks like you're the type of person who just kind of like, you know, go with the moment, but at the very same time, able to make a synergy out of it. You're a very, 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 very extremely balanced person. And I think it's, a lot of people find that very alluring. A lot of people find that very endearing, and they wanted to learn from you. They wanted to understand how to create such balance, you know, how to sustain that type of mentality and that type of lifestyle. So yeah, I get the feeling that a lot of people just kind of want to learn a lot of things from you. And I don't know if you get that sense, but that's definitely what you're radiating. And yeah, you kind of captivate a lot of people by just, the more you do things and the more able you're kind of like balanced in it, I feel like the more people find it kind of very exceptionally balanced and fair. And you're very good also with your like time management, and you're also very good with, so for example, like group friends, for example, like you're never afraid to kind of blend yourself into a lot of like group friends, into a lot of society, into a lot of peoples. And yeah, you just find it kind of easy, to do such things. Like you're not afraid to back down. You're not afraid to let yourself experience stuff and to let experiences shape you as a person, which is very impressive to see. So yeah, let's jump right into more cards that you have here, pile 3. So we have a lot of cards over here. Let's start off with these 2 cards right here. It said purity, cheerfulness, and innocent, Gerbera Daisy. And also we have Camellia. It said destiny. It is not the stars to hold destiny, but in ourselves. Yeah, you're the type of person who's like, I think deep down, like you have a lot of sense of organization within you. It's just that you make it look so like harmonious, you make it look so easy. You make it like, you make it as if it's not exactly the most difficult thing to pull off. You just kind of have a way to make stuff easier. And I think especially with the purity, cheerfulness, and innocence, is that your approach, to do something is always, you approach stuff with a lot of authenticity, and as if like you treat everything in front of you as something to conquer, as something that you should accept with your open arms. So it's like, if there is a new things that happen in your life, you're not a type of person who's just kind of like, oh my God, this is so difficult. You're not complaining a lot. That's what I get here. And I think it came from a lot of sense of balance, as we see on the next few cards here. We have the 9 of Wands, and at times I feel like, yeah, the 9 of Wands and the Emperor card. There are many times where I think you're kind of just like tired, I think, doing it all together. And it looks like if you're not entering the scenes, I feel like everybody can't exactly function. So there's something very multifunctional and multitasking and multi-role about you, something multifaceted, something that's kind of very diverse. It shows again with the Lovers card we have in here. You kind of have a way to walk kind of like certain double paths, or like many multiple interests that for some reason you find yourself always able to kind of gradually move into the next steps. With the Page of Cups also in there, the Lovers and the Page of Cups, like you never lose your sense of authenticity and your sense of, I would say, like childishness, just because you get more mature. And I'm not saying you're childish, but it's like the fire. I'm talking about, the young spirit and all of that excitement. You're just never the type of person who's losing that just because you're getting older, just because you get your age getting more serious, or just because things got difficult. It doesn't always mean you have to deal with it with a difficult manner. And I think people find it very alluring because we don't have a lot of those type of people, right? I mean, when things got serious, we got serious. We usually let, most people anyway, let the path, kind of shaped how they want to like respond, so like if it is difficult, well, you should proceed with a very difficult expression. Obviously, you want to be serious and you want to be aligned with what you have in front of you, with your challenges. But I don't think that's the case with you. Even though the most difficult shit ever exist, you're always in control when it comes to it. Shows with the Emperor card, you have a side of you that's kind of like, I can be topping this. Like I'm kind of like on top of this situation, and this situation has no power over me whatsoever. So, and I think it looks like, at least from the outside, it's like it's very alluring. It's very easy for you to do. It's very elegant the way you do it. Even though sometimes you too, I feel very exhausted and I would say drained, by the difficulty and by the circumstances, I would say. So that's what we have for this prediction. Thank you so much for being here. I'll see you in the next one, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye for now. Hello there, pile 4. You chose the 6 of Cups over here. So the 6 of Cups immediately clarified by the Queen of Pentacles. As what the title said, what the part of you that people find alluring is the fact that you're very secure with yourself. This is very interesting. It's like you're a family person, There is something about you that is very grounded, and it looks like you just kind of know your identity. So it could be, you could be dealing with a lot of projections. You could be dealing with like a lot of people expected you or hoped or imagined or project that you do certain things that kind of even far from your radar. Like you don't even think of doing so, but people expect you to do so. But I feel like perhaps, you know, the more people push, like you don't exactly get mad by it, because we have the love at first sight and proud spirit in there. And our second card, we have thankfulness for understanding, you know. So it looks like you're kind of like in like a way mature range, you know, compared to most people around your age or compared to your peers. Like you're not easily like moved by just because, you know, people tell you so, you should be doing that as well. Like you have, I feel like it's such something about you that you feel like you have no obligation whatsoever on, you know, like completely saying yes into whatever people wanted you to do. You know, there is something about you that's very authoritative in a way, and you always kind of like find a way to make it work your way. There's something very independent and also very responsible about you. I feel like you could be like generally just kind of a very responsible person, you know, and you're responsible over your life. And the people find that alluring because no matter how hard people try to change your mind or try to shape you as a person, you're like, thank you so much for the invitation, but like I have my own identity, you know. I kind of, you're like actually one of those people who actually know what they want to do and actually know what to like who you are. Like you know your worth. And I think that's with the Six of Cups, you know, that's like the that is the not projection, you know, but that's the card when you look at the past and you kind of over idealizing the past. Yeah, over idealizing the past, the Six of Cups. But yet the clarification with the Queen of Pentacles is like, you're not going to get into fight, you know, just to make sure your opinion is heard, but you for sure do not change your mind either. You know, there's something about you that's like it's like a last warning. You know, there's something about you that feels very abrupt, but at the very same time, it's like, it's last warning. You know, something about you that like you wouldn't change your mind easily. And I think people find that alluring to see people try to change you or try to make your mind move, and you're like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of impression I give to you, but certainly not. But I feel like you're not gonna shout as well about it, you know. So let's take a look into the next few cards. So the next few cards we have over here for you is the Three of Cups. We have also the Hanged Man. We have the Ace of Swords and the Moon card. That is interesting. Yeah, there's something about you that I think people can't exactly pinpoint. Like people can exactly expect or hoped or imagine. There's something about you that's kind of a little out of reach, you know? There's something about you that is a little out of the curve. There's a little out of reach, a little misunderstood. Like it's people don't always understand it, you know? Because we have both the Moon and the Hanged Man. So that's like when those two cards together kind of like, it's basically walk into like a shadow realm. And I think there's something about you that feels like a shadow. There is something about you that's not really belong anywhere. And I think it's really hard to define you as a person. It's really hard to really describe you as a person. Yet within those like hard times that people have, you know, to understand you, it's very alluring that you know exactly who you are. You know, it's not that like you don't understand me neither. Like there's something about me that I don't think I always understand. No, you're like, you don't understand me, that's fine. I mean, at least I know who I am, you know, like, so it looks like, you mind no business about how people would describe or would understand you as a person, yet also you are very strong with your identity. But like people's opinion is none of your business, you know? So it looks like you have a clear boundaries. Queen of Pentacles, like you know who you are and that's enough, you know? With the Three of Cups, with the Ace of Swords, like you don't need to brag about anything and you don't even need to explain that you understand, you know? So you're just kind of like, yeah, I mean, sure, you know, you kind of leave a lot of things into interpretation, and it's very alluring because it kept a sense of mystery, I would say, you know, like it kept a sense of questionable stuff, something about you that people just can't always understand, and maybe we will never even understand. And I think there is a certain pull, there is a certain magic about it as well, you know. And I think the more you do that, perhaps kind of even kept people seated, you know, kept people on the edge of a seat to always try to understand you. But not exactly you're doing that on purpose. You know, you don't like get mysterious by purpose and you want to make yourself a living mystery. You're not an object, you're a person. But again, you're like,
yeah, you know, I feel like you generally don't even mind like people's like opinion, or even you don't even care. I feel like you have so many things and so many stuff literally that you want to do, that you have a lot of things to do, you know. It's like you couldn't care less. There's something about it that's like you leave things to interpretation, as I mentioned before. And yeah, I think that's what people find alluring about you. And you I don't think you even care about what it is. You're like, yeah, thanks, I mean, sure, but like what is there, like what is it really matter, you know? So something about you that feels very, like I said, you know, you're very sovereign, and I think it's good for you. Good for you, Pal 4. Thank you so much for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in another prediction. Bye for now.